You're an entrepreneur, you're building a business. There is so much to know. One of the things most entrepreneurs overlook are business systems, the technology that drives your business, the technology that creates everything and puts everything together, the technology that keeps all the pieces in alignment and moving forward. In this video, I'm going to take you through each of the elements of business systems and give you some specific examples of systems that we use in our business, Content First Marketing. So stay tuned for that. Systems in your organization are designed to support the organizational elements. And there are three main categories in every business. You have your marketing and sales team, you have operations, and you have finance and administration. And these are three main elements, and you have to have different systems to support these elements. In this video, I'm going to walk through the activities for each of these areas and speak to the systems necessary to support those functions. The first thing is marketing and sales. There's an old saying, nothing happens until a sale is made. And that's true. Nothing happens until a sale is made, and you have to have the systems to support it. But I'll take it a step further and say nothing happens until you have a contact to which you can sell something. You have marketing systems and you have sales systems. And these are composed of three main elements. The first is the customer relationship management. That's your CRM. The second is marketing automation. And the third is the proposal component, or the quote component, or the order processing component. And this varies depending on the type of business you have. All three of these are critical to having a really strong, successful marketing and sales organization to drive business to your operations teams. So let's dig in this a little further. Let's get into the CRM. The CRM is the customer relationship management part. And what that tool is for is first, storing all of the contacts associated with your business. Any contact, whether that contact is a customer, or that contact is a lead, or somebody who's just a friend of the brand, or that contact could be a vendor or someone else that provides services to the brand or the organization. All of these contacts must be in one place. That's the heart of your CRM system. And when you're building your systems, that's your first system you want to have in place, that CRM. The other thing that the CRM system does for you is that CRM system manages your sales pipeline. When you have a prospective customer or client and they're interested in your services, well, you're going to go through a series of steps, right? They're a lead, and you're going to want to convert them to being an opportunity. And that opportunity, well, you might write a proposal or you might create a quote, depending on the kind of business you are. These are all within the CRM software. So that when you get through that process and when you're finished, the CRM software ends with somebody signing an agreement or agreeing to your quote and moving forward and you processing an order. That's the CRM piece of it. Now, the second aspect of these twin systems is marketing automation. Sales receives a sales qualified lead and works it to make them a customer or client. Marketing takes all of these prospects, these raw prospects out there, and converts that raw prospect through a funnel to a marketing qualified lead and eventually a sales qualified and ultimately sales accepted lead. And if you want to learn more about the different types of leads and how these teams work together, look in the show notes. I will have a link to a video on this very topic. Marketing automation is the software that keeps your brand in front of your prospects for different reasons. And they run campaigns, typically email campaigns. They can be social media campaigns. But this marketing automation system is sending out material on behalf of your company and measuring the results. They might send an email, measure the open rate. They might send an email, measure a click-through rate. They might measure how those click-throughs converted into customers. All of this is tied to the marketing automation system. So once you have CRM in place, your next step is to build marketing automation in a marketing team so that you are driving marketing qualified leads and converting them into sales qualified leads. So let's talk about that CRM system. There are many products on the market. There are many great products on the market. And there are a few of them here. Keep, HubSpot, Salesforce, Dynamics, the list goes on and on. In our organization, we use Keep. But I've used Dynamics CRM, I've used Salesforce, I've used HubSpot, I've used quite a wide range of them, and they're all good and they all do different things well. In Keep, we are keeping all of our contacts, prospects, clients, vendors, friends of the brand, anyone we want to keep any interaction with, we keep in our CRM system. Now, marketing automation is kind of interesting because some CRMs have marketing automation built in. For example, HubSpot and Keep, they have marketing automation built at their core. But Salesforce, for example, is not actually built in. It's a secondary product called Pardot. Salesforce is the CRM, Pardot is marketing automation, and brought together, they can fulfill those things. When you're looking for tools, if you're a smaller business, try to find one that has them both included. It'll make things a little easier for you as you're building your business. Tools like HubSpot, tools like Keep, they're a really good way to start to manage your pipeline, manage your contacts, and do marketing automation. To make a sale, your business either does a quote or has an order form or maybe does a full proposal. Whatever it is that you do, you need to have some sort of way to generate those quotes or generate those proposals. We use a tool called Proposify, and it is a dedicated system for one purpose, writing proposals. And we have templates for the most common proposals. And we also have a library of pages that we can insert into those proposals. So maybe we start with a template and we grab something out of the library and we insert it. The great thing about this is it's already approved content that is compliant with our marketing and is ready to be delivered. It already has all of our legal terms and conditions on the signature page, including links to our complete terms and conditions on our website. And it has an easy way to add pricing on the last page. So this tool for us, Proposify, is a great way to keep all of our proposals in one spot. More importantly, our proposal processing system integrates directly with our CRM. Now you can use CRMs like HubSpot that automatically have proposal processing in there, and you might want to evaluate an all-in-one solution so that your proposals can be generated directly from your CRM. In our case, we're using a third party, but it still integrates with our CRM. Now there are other systems on the market that are specific to verticals or specific to types of businesses. If you're in the construction industry, if you're a builder, you can buy software that's for builders that has CRM, that has marketing automation, that has proposals, or in this case, quotes built into it. So these are things that you want to review as well. But when you're building this sales and marketing technology infrastructure, your CRM is first, then marketing automation, then quote and proposals, and then an easy way to process an order. In our case, our CRM actually has the order processing as well, but other companies may use their financial system for orders. We use our order processing, so we have an end-to-end system from when a prospect begins its relationship to us, to when we create a proposal to them, to when they sign the proposal and close, and to when we process an order in our system to move to operations to actually provide the services we have. This all is tied together with our core systems, our CRM, marketing automation, and proposal system. And those are the main systems that are necessary for that organization. CRM, marketing automation, proposals, quotes, and orders. There are other systems that you may use, but these are the main ones and you want to have them in place. And if they're separate systems, you want to have them integrated together. And at the end of this, we'll talk a bit more about integration. Now, let's talk a bit about operations. Operations is where the services are delivered. This is when somebody has hired your company to do something for them. Your operations organization is responsible for delivering those services. And underneath operations are some underlying components. The first one is project management. Now you may have a dedicated project management system specific to the type of business you're in, or a more general project management system. The next is customer service. When somebody calls either with an inquiry or a concern or a case, or they're just providing information back to the team, how are they interacting with your business? Is it just email? Or is there something more sophisticated here? That's your customer service piece. And then the third are the business-specific technologies necessary to deliver your services. If you are web developers, then you probably have WordPress. You probably have a tool to manage many WordPress sites. You probably have some design tools that you use to create themes to promote into WordPress. It's just an example. Whatever industry you're in, you likely have some technology tools that you use to deliver your services effectively and efficiently. Those are your business-specific technologies. And I'm not going to speak to those in this video because it's a little bit more general, but we will go through the others. For project management, you have to think of this as both project and task management. It's a way of organizing all the different resources in your company to come together to deliver the services that have been sold on behalf of your organization. And there are many great project management systems out there. We use a tool called Asana. And in Asana, what we do is we create a new project automatically when an order is placed. Imagine this, a proposal is signed. The customer gets an email with a link to finalize the order. They finalize the order. The system knows that occurred and automatically creates a project in Asana and assigns the operations manager a task to start building out the project in Asana. And we use templates. So we import the template that has all the different tasks that go into whatever service we're delivering. And then the project manager can assign those tasks to different members of the team. It's a smooth handoff from one set of systems in sales and marketing to another set of systems in operations, where the project management system is that bridge. Now there are others, Microsoft Project, Monday, Basecamp, the list goes on. And they can all do these things at varying levels of capability. Your business differs from my business, and so maybe you choose one or the other. As long as you have a project management system in place, something that is used to track all of the different tasks that need to be done for the services you provide and making it easy for you to report to your client the status of those things, then you have the first critical underlying system for operations. Next thing is customer service. You have to have some way to handle customer service interactions. Now, most businesses, this starts with simple email. Sometimes it's email, then it turns into folders. Sometimes what it is an email account that automatically distributes to multiple people. Those are fine to start, but they do not scale. And more importantly, they don't convert well into tasks or follow-up activities. They're just sitting there in an inbox. We use a tool called FuseDesk, and the reason we use that tool is pretty simple. It directly integrates with our CRM. So imagine anytime a client emails the support desk with an issue, it automatically puts that in their CRM log. So if a salesperson goes and looks at their contact record in CRM, they're already going to see dialogues that this person's had. They're already going to see maybe concerns they've had. It makes it really easy to bridge the gap from a support request to future sales by having this all in one place. FuseDesk is our tool. There are other great tools like Zendesk. There are support tools built into many CRMs where you just buy the CRM and you already have support desk management in there, which is a great capability. You have to make sure that when you're planning out your operations organization that there is some technology in place to manage support desk tickets, to manage support inquiries. Start considering what that is today. It'll make it a lot easier as you grow. Now the business-specific technologies, I mentioned examples like the tools for a website, things like that. If you are a technology partner working with some piece of hardware, you sell a product and then you provide the services to implement it, you are likely going to have technology supporting that. What I have to say here is no matter what technologies you need or require to do the job, look for ways that they can integrate with your existing systems. These tend to be standalone, but sometimes you want to enable some sort of communication between other systems and this one. In the most common case, there's an integration between a project management system or a collaboration system, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, with this technology system. So look for those opportunities to bridge the gap there. So your operations team, you have project management, you have customer service, and you have your business-specific technologies. Put time into selecting a project management system that will work with your people, your team, and your processes, but that will also tie into the other systems that you have. Your customer service system, the same thing. Be thoughtful as you grow of what that's going to look like. What does it look like when you have one customer service agent or 5 customer service agents versus somebody sporadically responding to emails? And look for ways for your business-specific technologies to tie back to the other systems in the organization. So that's it. That's our second part. That is how we're handling operations. When you hear finance, you're thinking accounting, accounts payable, accounts receivable, things like that. The finance organization has 3 main components. It has accounts payable, accounts receivable, general accounting, and the statements that go along with that. But it also has contracts, the legal side of it, and it has the human resources and payroll components that go into it. Each of these areas has underlying systems. In some cases, it's all one system, but in most cases, there is a split between systems, and making sure that they all tie together and integrate is really important. Let's first talk about financials. That's accounts payable, accounts receivable, tax, things like that. And there are many great products. The most common one you're going to hear about is QuickBooks. It makes it really easy for small businesses to get going, and it integrates with a significant amount of third-party tools. But other ones like Xero or FreshBook or even Oracle NetSuite, a more sophisticated tool, those are also great tools that can run the financial part of your organization. When you're evaluating them, just make sure it can fit into how you do things. For example, if you're a company that bills for time, make sure that the financial system you put in has a good way of organizing hourly-based invoicing, for example. Now, underneath finance is typically legal, and legal is essentially contracts and agreements. And there are definitely a lot of tools and a lot of ways you can go with this, but you want to make sure that if you go digital, which we are 100% digital, that your documents are being signed and being organized and managed by a third party that is reputable. We use a tool called DocuSign for the majority of our contracts, but these contracts are typically contracts or agreements with contractors, with employees. We send all of our employment agreements through DocuSign. We send our company handbook through DocuSign. We put all of the documents that we want a signature and we want to store, we put those through DocuSign. Now there is an exception. We use a tool called Proposify for our proposals, and Proposify has a way to accept and obtain signatures on the documents. So in that case, when Proposify executes a document, we'll get that document and we'll put that into our collaboration system, which I'll talk about later. But other than that, the majority of our documents and our agreements go through DocuSign. Many other products out there. The integration is going to be very important. If you choose a digital signature product, make sure it has some form of application programming interface, or API, that you can interact with. Because just manually sending a document out to be signed and getting it back, that's a tedious process that requires a lot of human interaction. If you're going digital with digital signatures, it stands to reason that invoking the request for that signature should be automated as well. Make sure that the one you choose fits in with whatever system you're using to get your proposals or quotes signed. Maybe that's your CRM, and maybe your CRM has its own document signature system. You look at that. Or maybe your CRM already integrates with DocuSign. Look at that. Just make sure that whatever you pick, it ties into your other systems. Makes your life a lot easier. Now for human resources, there are some sophisticated human resources programs out there. When you're a smaller business, you really just need the basics, and there are many great ones out there. We use a tool called Gusto, and it allows us to do all of our payroll. It allows us to do all of our end-of-year processing. It tracks everything, and anyone can log into it to see their pay stubs. So we have 100% digital. We then put our benefits into Gusto. So Gusto is also the tool we use to manage our benefits system. And so that's worked really well for us from a payroll perspective, and from an HR perspective, in that it's also a confidential database where our team members, whether they're employees or contractors, can update their information. However, we do some work that requires tracking hourly. In fact, most of our work requires some sort of hourly tracking, even if we don't bill that way. And the reason we track hourly is because whether we're billing by the hour or billing a fixed amount, we need to understand and track the costs associated with delivering our services. We started using a tool called Harvest for that. Now we're on QuickBooks, and QuickBooks has their own time tracking, but we wanted to be able to do something a little bit more complex. We wanted to be able to budget for projects based on a role on a project and do this over and over again. And we all wanted to be able to run reports that were budget versus actual on the expenditures of labor resources so that we could see if our projects were profitable. And we evaluated many great tools, but Harvest gave us the most comprehensive capabilities. And so we use Harvest as a way to track all the time associated with our team members, and that is fed into QuickBooks so that we can do our billing if it's hourly, but pay our contractors and pay our employees that their payments are associated with hourly through QuickBooks. So a great tool for doing time tracking, Harvest app. So for finance, we have our traditional financials. That's your QuickBooks of the world. We have legal, that's the contract and agreement management, and we have HR payroll. Now the other side of that organization is IT and administration. We think of it as finance, IT, and administration. It's kind of like one bubble, and it supports the whole organization. And so when I talk about administration, I'm going to get into some systems that are intended to bring our whole company together. The administrative systems that tie us all together, well, that's our collaboration and communication systems, our integration, that is tying all these pieces of software together, and reporting and analytics. So when I think of administration in the company, I think of collaboration, communication, integration, and reporting as that entity. Collaboration, communication, and productivity tools. We use a tool called Microsoft Teams for our collaboration. And I've done several videos on this. I'll put some links in the show notes so you can see some other videos on this topic. But we use Microsoft Teams because it makes it really easy for us to interact with each other when we're working on a project together. And in fact, we always set up a new team whenever we get a new client. And whenever a new project is starting, whether that's for an existing client or a new client, we created a new set of channels in that team so we can all communicate with each other on that effort. And what's great is it compartmentalizes all of these different people to those specific activities so that we're not spamming everybody with everything all the time. It's a way to organize it. And there's another tool called Slack that works much the same way, and it's an excellent tool as well. We've used both. We're on Microsoft Teams simply because we are a Microsoft Office 365 shop. And there are a lot of capabilities built into Microsoft Office 365. Microsoft Teams is one of those, and it's a key part of our productivity, collaboration, and communication. And because we're on that Microsoft stack, our communication is supported by Office, Outlook, Office 365, all those little things that are used for booking appointments, sending emails, that type of integration and communication. Now I mentioned integration. Integration is how you connect different systems together. Some systems natively will connect to other systems. For example, you might have a CRM that natively connects to a separate marketing automation system. You may have a financial system that natively connects to a time entry system, and they're already put in place the connectors there. But for systems that don't natively connect to another system you're using, we have to have a way for those to communicate with each other. And those communications will happen through another piece of software. You can write your own software, but when you're running a small business, it's the last thing you want to do because writing your own software means supporting your own software. So you have to take that into account. For our integrations, we use a tool called Zapier. And Zapier was chosen for one simple reason. It has a huge number of integrations with different systems, thousands and thousands of integrations. So when I purchase two systems that don't communicate directly, there's a very good chance that an event in one system can trigger an action in another system. So let's talk through some of the scenarios that we have. Say, for example, in our CRM system, we close a deal, Proposify gets a signed contract, it updates the CRM automatically because those two integrate, that opportunity is closed won. Well, what I could do right now is when an opportunity is closed won in our CRM using Zapier, that's a trigger. So a new closed opportunity triggers Zapier. And then I can tell Zapier, well, when that happens, I want you to go to Asana. And if we don't already have this client set up, I want you to create this client, and then I want you to create a new project for that client. So automatically create a project in the project management system under operations when a proposal is signed. Zapier is the tool we use to connect those things together. And we have a long list, and look in the show notes for a link because I did a video on Zapier and actually walked through some examples where we're using Zapier to do marketing automation as well. But your fundamental infrastructure, Zapier is the way to link things together. And the last element of our administration is reporting and analytics. We have internal reporting and external reporting. So first, let's talk a bit about internal reporting. To manage the business, we have a series of key performance indicators. They're just things we manage to. We manage to the number of leads that come in, we manage to a close rate percentage of sales, we manage to the time we deliver our projects, we manage to many different success levels, profitability, things like that. These all sit on dashboards in our organization, and some of that data comes directly out of our marketing automation CRM system. We use a tool called Graphly as a layer on top of that system. But there's also another tool that fits neatly into Microsoft Teams, and that's Microsoft Power BI. Microsoft Power BI can already natively interact with tools like Asana. It can already interact with, of course, the Microsoft suite and many other systems. So we have Microsoft BI as another method. And then internally, we've created our own repository for data where we run our own reports. This part of the organization responsible for reporting and analytics has to make sure that the business leadership has dashboards that they can use to manage against key performance indicators that are aligned with the future goals for the business. Now, on the other side of this, reporting and analytics does client reporting. So for example, if we have a client that we're providing search engine optimization or SEO services, well, we need to report to them on a regular basis. Are we improving your traffic? How many visitors are arriving? Are we increasing your ranks? What are you ranked for these keywords? There's all this important reporting. We have a team committed to doing the reporting as well, that they deliver this to operations. So operations has the tools when they're running client meetings to share with that client. And so putting all this together into one organizational entity, reporting and analytics, and having tools like Graphly and Power BI and custom reports is how we're able to make sure that we have the data we need and we're also able to give the clients the data they need. So let's put some things together. Here's some scenarios. You have a lead, and that lead is in your CRM system. And you're going to start sending that lead some emails using marketing automation. And you're going to track your open rates and your click-through rates. And that's going to go back into the CRM so you can see how they're interacting. Sales then contacts this person who's been getting the marketing and reacting to the marketing. And sales then updates an opportunity in the CRM and ultimately then generates a proposal. When that proposal is signed, sales generates an order. That order automatically is fed into the financial system, automatically fed into QuickBooks. And we got this whole thing stitched together where different systems are working together under one set of orders or integration capabilities to get that first part done, from a lead all the way into financials for that order. Well, then that hands off to project management. When that order passes to financials, that order also creates a new project in Asana. So project management now has what they need to do and assigns a task to the operations manager to load in a template of all the tasks that need to be done for that type of project. And that manager is going to assign a project manager, going to assign other team members, and those team members and that project manager are then going to get tasks assigned to them, all in the project management system. And they're going to talk to each other and communicate about the project using the collaboration system, Microsoft Teams. So they're talking back and forth to each other, and if there is an action item or something that needs to be done, the person who needs to do something or their project manager is going to go back to project management system and create a new task. And when that person is working on that task, they're also going to use Harvest to track their time. They'll click a little button at the top of the page, and then they're going into Harvest and tracking the time. And now all of this ends up in reporting and analytics, so the project manager can look at the time tracking, compare that to all the tasks that are being done, and also can compare that to what the costs of labor should be for this project, so they can determine if they're running a profitable project. We have another process that ties things together as well. So think of the CRM now, not necessarily from a client perspective or getting new business, but the CRM as a tool to track all the people that might be interested in working with us. Whenever somebody goes out to the website and has an inquiry, that goes into the CRM too. That is an inquiry to be part of our team. So that goes in there, and then say we go back and forth, and if you want to see the process of how we do interviews, I've got another link for that as well. Look in the show notes, you'll see that. So we now have an agreement with this contractor or full-time employment, and when that happens, that agreement is stored in DocuSign, and when that agreement is signed, tasks are assigned to set that person up, to add them into Office 365, to add them into Keep, to add them into Harvest. A series of tasks are assigned to different people in different parts of the organization. And we roll that person out, we welcome them, and all of the systems that they need access to are ready to go. And then they get an automated series of emails, a campaign, much like a campaign that we would send out from a marketing perspective. We send a campaign out to a new team member so they can watch videos and learn more about our business and know what's coming next, and get the links to the systems they're going to use and see the videos and training for those systems. So all this stuff ties together. We make sure that the systems we put in place have endpoints that we can stitch them together. We make sure that the systems we put in place can communicate with each other without duplicating content in different places. And we make sure the systems we put in place support the size of business we are and the complexity, or sometimes simplicity, of the processes we run. So that's your business, and those are the systems supporting it. So let's take a minute just to review what we have here. Your business can be organized into three primary components. That's marketing and sales, operations, and then supporting all of that is finance, information technology, and administration. Within marketing and sales, you have three main systems types. First of all, you have your customer relationship management system. That's the heart of the organization. That's where all the contacts go. Once you have a good CRM foundation in place, then you can build on that. And you can build on that with marketing automation. This is how you're interacting with your contacts and tracking all that on a regular basis. And then thirdly, in your marketing and sales organization, you need to have a system to write a proposal or deliver a quote. And then once those are accepted, you need to have some way to track and capture an order. And that order, that completed transaction at the end of a closed sale, is what takes the company from our marketing and sales into the operations organization. Now, the operations organization has its own systems. First and foremost is some form of project management. Whether you're doing this in a spreadsheet or you're using a commercial project management system, you have to have something that's going to support the organization. And no matter how large you are, whether you're one person or 500 people, the system that supports your project, that project management system, has to be consistently used. The second system that is necessary is your customer service system. Now, if you are a one-person shop, customer service is pretty much phone calls and emails. However, as that grows, you want to have a way to track the interactions with your customer. You want to track those and tie them back to your CRM system. You want to have a way so that different team members can follow up with customer inquiries without necessarily being a part of a bunch of CC'd emails. Customer service is that second foundational component of operations. And finally, every company has different business-specific technologies. And these are a critical part of operations because they are the tools that differentiate you or make you more efficient or make you more cost-effective than your competitors. So identifying what tools are first the minimum entry tools for your company in your industry, and what tools or technologies you can either purchase or develop that differentiate you or make you better than your competitors. That's that third leg of those operations systems necessary to run a great small business. Tying operations and sales and marketing all together are three other areas. And the first is finance. Finance are your financials. It's the accounts receivable, accounts payable. It's paying taxes, things like that. The second part, well, those are your contracts. Whether the contract is with an employee, a third-party contractor or somebody internal providing services, or that contract is with a client, you need to have a way to obtain digital signatures and store and organize all those contracts for future reference. And finally, the HR payroll system. Whether you are 100% contractors paying hourly or you have W-2 employees, you need to have some form of system that they can log into, they can track their time, they can receive their payments, they can review their tax withholdings. Those HR payroll systems sometimes fall within financials, but they are usually a separate component of the overall finance umbrella. And another element tying it all together is your information technology and administration. And the foundational system that your whole organization is going to need right off the bat is collaboration and communication. Look, email sucks. I don't care how big your company is. If you're managing your communications through email, you're going down a path that will not scale well. You need tools that organize communications between team members into ways that are easily follow, into ways that are easy to organize and are tied to the work that you're doing. Put time into and plan what collaboration and communication tools you're going to use, and then put in either policy or build a culture around how you use those tools so that your organization is effective in using them. The next part of this is tied to information technology, and that's the integration. You are likely going to choose best of breed products for each of these areas. And since you're tying together many different systems, having a platform where your systems can communicate with each other is optimal. Now, some systems natively interact with other systems, and that's great. Oftentimes, your financials already automatically integrate with your CRM. But for those systems that do not natively communicate with one another, you need something to link them. The tool I mentioned in this video is Zapier, but there are others out there. And finally, under administration, you have to have some form of reporting and analytics. Whether that's internal reporting and analytics, where you have dashboards to see how healthy your business is, or external, where you're giving reports to your clients on a regular basis, showing them how well you're doing for them. You need to have this foundation in place, falling under administration, so that the internal teams get what they need and your clients get what they need. And it's all under technology platforms that are appropriate to your business and your industry. So that's it. That's your business. You have your marketing, sales, operations, finance, technology, and administration. Take time now to look at the current state of your business. In these functional areas, how are you doing with technology? And if you have some things to share, pop it in the comments. It's always appreciated. So those are our systems, and that's how they tie together. I'm hoping this is helpful. I make videos every week. If you found this useful, please do me a favor. Give it a like, maybe subscribe, or if you're doing something different or disagree with my views on some of these systems, put it in the comments. I'd absolutely love to hear about it. Appreciate your time today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.